Verizon scandal, and which I understand takes us to possibly monitoring up to 120 million calls. You know, when government bureaucrats are sloppy, they're usually really sloppy. I want to just ask, could you assure to us that no phones inside the Capitol were monitored of members of Congress that would give a future executive branch, if they started pulling this kind of thing off, would give them unique leverage over the legislature?
With all due respect, Senator, I don't think this is an appropriate setting for me to discuss that issue. I'd be more than glad to come back in an appropriate setting to discuss the issues that you have raised, but in this open forum, I would
interrupt you and say the correct answer would be say no. We stayed within our lane, and I'm assuring you, we did not spy on members of Congress.
You know, I'd like to suggest something here. When I read the New York Times this morning, it was like, oh God, not one more thing, and not one more thing where we're trying to protect America and then it looks like we're spying on America. I think the full Senate needs to get a brief on this. And I think we need the Attorney General. I think we need the National Security Agency and other appropriate people. This is no way to minimize. Actually, Senator Kirk, your very excellent question. But there are also, I think, certain answers that might have to be given in a more classified environment. I'm not going to determine who answers what questions or censor.
Madam Chairman,
Shelby, do you have
if
an
could, I would hope that you, as the chairman, you're a member of the Intelligence Committee too, I think would create the appropriate forum that is a classified hearing to get into this, where the Attorney General could be open with us. I think that what Senator Kirk is raising is a very important question. And it should be.
And I agree. I agree. The Kirk question isn't. And frankly, is
the sooner the better. I'm sure you will.
I'd like to ask myself. What I would like to suggest is that I will send a note to Senator Reid and McConnell, because I think this cuts across committees. I think it goes to Judiciary. I think it goes to Armed Services. I think it goes to Intel. And it not only including in the scope of an Appropriations Committee.
But it could go here to our oversight of the Justice Department, could it not?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I would just suggest that for separation of powers, that whoever was so sloppy running this for you and probably didn't segregate out the Supreme Court to make sure that when you're jumping out of your executive branch lane, you want to make sure you're not gaining new intel and leverage over separated powers under our Constitution. That I would hope that we would get absolute assurance that not a single Supreme Court justice was at all involved in this Verizon thing.
Senator Shelby.
Senator Kirk, please do not take my response as being anything but respectful of the concerns that you have raised. There's been no intention to do anything of that nature, that is to spy on members of Congress, to spy on members of the Supreme Court. And without getting into anything specific, I will say this, that with regard to that members of Congress have been fully briefed as these issues, matters have been underway. I'm not really comfortable in saying an awful lot more about that, but the concerns that you have raised.
Well, we're going to stop here because this fully briefed is something that drives us up the wall. So fully briefed doesn't mean we know what's going on.
Madam Chairman.
And Senator Shelby says we've got to know what's going on, and there are appropriate questions to ask.
Because I've raised this issue, whoever was running this program, knows they really screwed up. I would just ask that you kind of seize the records and not allow the destruction of evidence that they have accidentally monitored other branches of the government.